How you doing today, Ronnie?
Doing really good. Today, pretty smooth. Woke up earlier, got some shots up. Went to get actually my first therapy session today, so that was cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um, Before you elaborate on that, let me kind of talk to you about like why I'm doing this and kind of what I hope to get out of it. Um, for me, like I'm turning 35 this year, and so I feel like I have a lot of like videos I get to reflect on and kind
yeah,
of see my growth. So I'm hoping to do the same thing for you guys, as like individuals, you, Lum, and J. Lou, and had an interview with Derek and Josh already.
yeah,
So hoping to continue this and then kind of just like reflect on it as the years go by. Help
yeah, for
us
sure.
stay accountable with certain things that we'll probably like mention and say today. So, but yeah. I mean, first off, before you get into your therapy session, like, I mean, tell them who you are. Like,
Yeah. All right. Well, hello, Coach Ron Mar to all. There's a coach here at the Grove. Hopefully, soon to be owner. Trying right now to just figure out who I am, basically, what I should follow, certain things like that to kind of, boost me from when I get to my mid 20s, basically taking this time right now to just really learn, guess, shoot, build myself as much as I can for myself in the future.
okay.
Kind of what I would have wanted for my younger self to do for me now, but got to do that now for that future person again.
Hey, actually, I wanted to talk about your therapy session before we got into the first question, but um, actually, no. Yeah, let's talk about how your therapy session went, bro.
Yeah,
If you
it
don't mind
was yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
it
it.
was really cool. I think a lot of it was just like basically just kind of more or less how do I go about this? I guess for me, it was kind of like going over certain triggers that I had and other like certain things that kind of I've been dealing with. And I worked with my girlfriend too because she kind of sees a lot of it in me as well. So kind of just going through certain actions that can kind of I guess help in a way. So I think for me it was mostly just like my focus really and just the fact that I forget a lot of things, right? I'll go into a room and then I'll be like, what am I doing here? And then I go back and like boom, now I remember. Kind of just a bunch of weird little things where it's like, you know, almost where like I can't control it. So it's like, okay, let me go and get this kind of checked out or at least talk about it. But I think when we got into it, it was really more or less about like a lot of childhood trauma things. She asked me a lot about how my life was growing up, the racial relationship with my parents, my siblings, my brothers, and something too that she asked me that was kind of like, oh, like I didn't really think about it like that. She asked me if I knew my mom was going through a lot of stress before I was born, and I was kind of thinking about it. I was like, like maybe there really is a correlation to that. If you are super stressed out while you have your baby, like that could really kind of bleed into it. I'm thinking about it now, like that was right after my mom's first divorce. After she had my brother, and then she met my dad. So I'm safe to assume that it was pretty stressful. I mean, my parents also had me like maybe not even a year into their relationship. So I think a lot of it is just kind of tying into how I reacted as a kid and certain things and events that happened when I was a kid that kind of adapts you in a way. And that's kind of how she phrased it, where it was just like everything that happens is an adaptation of what has happened to you. So like whether it's good or bad, like your humans are gonna adapt.
Yeah.
So it was really just like, okay, like you're going through trauma, so like your parents are always fighting and then your body triggers and response to like just shut down, or like just tune it out. And I feel like for me, it was like a lot of that too, where it was like I had a lot of stuff going on at home, but I go to school and I'm just like, happy-go-lucky guy, right? Kind of like not really, I guess, like putting up a facade, right? Not saying that's not who I was, but definitely kind of hiding what I was going through as a kid,
Yeah.
which kind of brings me to where I am now, and then going with her too, like I realized that a lot of things that I would do, I guess that's like bad in relationships, would be the same thing that my parents would do, that my dad would do. So again, just kind of like literally your past is a reflection of what you might look like today. So I was like, it was just like we talked about earlier, and you said there's a lot of reflection. You know, going back after, I'm like, man, like even going through that session, you know, I had a lot of memories that kind of faded out. You know, because shoot, I've been smoking for a minute. You know, so a lot of it is kind of like fading out. You know, but then kind of really thinking back to it, and even the moments that like suck a lot, right? I didn't realize that my brain kind of put that on the back end, you know, and kind of made me forget about it a little bit until today where something kind of sparked. I'm like, yeah, like, I forgot about that, you know.
Yeah,
I forgot
yeah,
about like some of those things as a kid, you know, where I would just walk out and just like if I'm hella mad or like even too growing up, like I kind of forgot how sensitive I was as a kid. You know, like I would cry a lot, especially if, you know, my feelings got hurt. And I think, you know, that too like bled a lot to, you know, who I am now.
yeah,
Right? Maybe some things are more prevalent than others, but definitely like to where I'm at now, a lot of the negative things I would say come from how I responded to trauma as a kid. You
yeah,
know, and like I always kind of knew a little bit about that before, but now it's just like it's really reinforced, you know, and kind of just relating, I guess, to these kids now. You know, hopefully that we can kind of be that that mediator for them as well too. You know, helping them through a lot of different
yeah. Like a
things.
safe haven for the
Yeah,
kids.
exactly,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I think it's cool that like you started that process today, you know, because then there's a lot of, I mean, we all have shit that happens when we're younger, but we try to close those doors and forget about
Yeah.
it and move on. So, kind of be able to open those doors back up and kind
Right.
of be able to see it from an older perspective now and reflect on the shit you went through, you know, to where like hopefully you
Oh
can
yeah.
move past that and grow from it, you know, like, or maybe it opens up a door for you to have conversations with mom, you know, like,
Right.
hey, like honestly, like when you mentioned the whole like, was your mom stressed like before she had you? Like, it shit hit me. Like, I've never asked my mom that question, you know. So it's like, damn, like I'm probably gonna text her after this and be like, hey, bro, like you had me at 19, like 18 and 19. How
Right.
stressed were you? You know, like what was your worries? You know, like because all that does play an effect on how
Yeah,
we
yeah.
view the world, how we treat other people,
Mhm.
and do all that, how we carry ourselves. You know,
Right.
so I feel like that's a perfect transition to like this first question that I wanted to ask you was if you if your younger version could see you now, what would they say? Um, and what would the younger version say to you, and what would you say to your younger version?
Hmm. I think if looking at who I was back as a kid, if I were to see myself, like, man, why are you not buffer? That, oh, that's how tall we're gonna get. You know, I feel like as a kid, I wasn't very super serious, you know, but I think definitely, I hope, you know, they would be proud of where I'm at now. You know, like from where I'm at right now, like 21, that's still really young,
Hell
you
yeah,
know, yeah, hella young. And I'm kind of still like trying to ground myself in that, you know, but shoot, when I was younger, I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know what outlet. You know, I kind of talked to you about this before, like, or maybe I haven't. But when I was a kid, you know, I wanted to be a cop. You know, and then I was like, okay, you know, I'm not built for that, right? And then let me think about being a teacher. You know, I think the biggest thing for me was just making an impact in my community, right? Ever since I was in elementary, I knew that I was gonna stay here. Like, I wasn't one to like, yeah, I'm smart, but I don't really want to go out of state. You know, I picture the highest thing I'm gonna go to is SJSU, right? Stay local. But again, going back to like, you know, impacting the community, I kind of seen coaching as an outlet, you know. So I would hope that the younger version of me would see that I'm still kind of pursuing um that mission, you know, to impact people's lives, right? So through that, and then I think really what I would tell myself as a younger kid is just to, I guess it's just to be real with yourself sometimes, you know, or not even sometimes, be real with yourself in general, right? I feel like for me, I was always just like, oh, it is what it is, you know, and that in some cases, like that's okay, right? But if that's how you base your whole life as it is what it is, you know, it makes it seem like it's not in your control, right? Which life is out of your control sometimes, but for the things that we can control, right? What can we do? You know,
yeah,
it's not about like how much you could do, but it's about what you could do, right? So as little as you could do, as long as you're, you know, making moves and taking steps forward, right? That's all you need. You know, something that I learned in like a service too was like God will give you opportunities and he will answer your prayers, right? But it's up to you to participate, you know?
Yeah.
And it's all just like, okay, you can think about so many things, right? But unless you are actually taking action towards it, then it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, so I think definitely telling myself to like really, I guess, reflect, you know, but even as a kid, it's like I think mostly what I would say to them is, you know, I'm sorry, right? I know what you're going through, and you may not even experience or like know fully what it's doing to you, you know, or how it's affecting you, but really just kind of realizing what you can do, and I think that's just the biggest thing, and something that I'm still, you know, learning right now too, right? And just trying my best to do what I can.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I feel like you guys are ahead of your time, bro. Like, I mean, talking to them yesterday, and talking to you right now, like, just where you guys are at mentally, you know, like, I feel like a lot of times at like your guys' age, like, people aren't taking the time to sit down and reflect on like how they even got to where they are, you know. And as you were talking, I read a quote this morning, and it was "Fantasy is reality." And so, again, like we can pray and we can wish upon things, but if we're not doing the right actions to head towards that goal, like it's not gonna work out for us, you know?
Right.
So I feel like something I talk to the kids about is how life's a video games, like the RPG,
Right.
you know, and we're just going day to day trying to build our attributes in the right way. You know?
Right.
So I feel like you guys are on the right path with where you guys are, you know, like shit, way further than I was at 21, you know, like, so just hearing you guys and being able to like reflect and grow from it, have tough conversations with the people you need to is like pretty adult of you guys to do.
Yeah,
You know?
hate being an adult.
Yeah, this morning, but like, this adult life is not fun at all. But at the same time, it's a blessing,
Yeah.
you know, to be able to see like shit where life can take you at times, you know. So I think that's really dope that again you started therapy and you're able to like open these doors and like
Mhm.
maybe answer some questions that you've had lingering, you know.
Right.
It was only session one,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So you know, I'm go through it for a while and it's gonna have its ups and downs, you know, but
Mhm.
just remember why you're there.
Yeah.
Um I guess that kind of goes into our next question of do you feel like you're in line with your purpose in life and why or why not?
I think right now, I think going first like to purpose, right? What I think my purpose is. I think I've been kind of tackling it as just like, you know, again, being able to impact as many people as I can.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's the kind of purpose that I gave myself.
Yeah.
Right. Not sure if that's the purpose I will always have. Right. Mainly, I hope to always, you know, be able to impact the community, anyways. Right. But I think right now, I'm doing I'm trying my best to impact a lot of these kids. You know, I think talking to Coach Ant a little bit kind of gave me more insight on the training side to where it's like he's telling me that he, for a lot of the times in the sessions, he does a lot of talking, right? Sometimes he take, you know, 20, 30 minutes of just kind of talking to them, chopping it up, you know, and then realizing too, like, as much as we want these kids to get better at basketball, right? Like, still checking in with them about, you know, how's school going? How are things, you know, at home? Right, because you know some of these kids too. Like I know we get a lot of like I guess financially well off parents, right? And I don't really relate too much to them, but I can still understand where like it has its own problems, you know, to whether like these kids are having packed schedules straight from school, going to like for example Chinese school and then doing piano and then doing you know basketball right after,
Yeah.
you know, and then some of these kids like dude like I was just going after school and then just riding my bike around, you know, until sundown, until the street lights came on, then I came home. You know, so I think still like just like you said earlier, being that safe haven for these kids,
Yeah.
right? And kind of having them realize that like of course basketball is fun and you want to get better at basketball, but at some point in your life, basketball is gonna end, you know. Like for LeBron, and he's like 40 and it's still ending for him, even though he's played for so long.
Yeah.
But then it's like, what are you if you don't have that? You know?
Bar.
Exactly, you know, and I think like a lot of what I'm learning to and what I'm going through is all based through God, you know, because it's kind of like that too. Like if God took everything away from you, like who are you still? Like I'm still a child of God, you know, so I'm still going to like just try my best to be okay with where I'm at, You know.
Shout out to Dakota.
No.
One of his
Exactly.
t-shirts.
Yeah, yeah. I seen that.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
he has some good merch. But I think, yeah, just like, dude, just trying my best to be there. Like something that you always say, you know, we always say is like being who you needed when you're younger, you know. And I always think about it like that, right? Think about where I was, especially because it was so recently. Like, you know, especially like some of these freshmen or sophomores, you know, even like eighth graders, to where it's like I was literally just in your shoes, not even like a decade ago.
Yeah,
like
like
less
5
than
years
less than
ago.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
not even, you know.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, let's see how you're doing, right? And then we can get into the work. Just because it's like if you're not mentally prepared, then you're not going to reap the benefits that you would if you were, right? And I think that all goes like, I guess, kind of to end this, it's like I see everything as, you know, a mindset, right? So if I could prime their mindset for anything, and if I could teach them how to prime their own mindset, then they will be able to go far in life. You know, especially when it comes to people saying things about them, right? Criticizing, like, you know, you're not going to listen unless you're prepared, right? So always just being like mentally ready.
Yeah. I feel like just piggybacking off of what you're saying, like that's something we're all pretty good with here is making sure we are who we needed when we were younger. Like one being that safe haven, but also trying to give those lessons that they could take like
Yeah.
to be better than us eventually, you know? Like I think I've mentioned this to you guys before, but I want you guys to be like killers in the game, you know, like by the time you guys are 25, you know, like be way further than I am currently at my age, you know, and so it's like, how do we prep you guys to be there, you know, while also helping the next skin, like whether it's the next generation or Khalid's generation, you know, like just making sure they're all good, you know?
Yeah.
So even if it's like not teaching them specifically what they need in basketball, you know, like we're trying to make sure they're good civilians in a sense.
Yeah.
Like fucking good people in the world,
Right.
you know. So it's like that's one thing I love about like what we do here, you know, like we have all walks of life, you know, which is really crazy to actually sit back and actually see like the lives we touch, the people we talk to, like the kids who truly like fuck with us and shit, you know, like I think it's really cool, you know, it's even to see the parents like the fact that like some of the parents just take it at the front desk to chop it up with us,
Right.
is crazy, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like it's a really good feeling to have, and it's like sometimes we forget like the blessings we have and who we are and how we impact the people around us. you
Yeah.
know, so
I think too on that, Coach Ant actually sent me like this message that like really touched me a lot, you know, and I didn't really think about it like that. But you know, when I went to go see Miles,
yeah,
right, and then Coach Ant kind of texted me. I think this was Mason's mom that texted him about it. He's like, "Oh, hey Ant, just texting to say how incredibly sweet Coach Ron has been to watch Miles play on the weekends. He doesn't need to do that, and I'm sure he has a million other things to do, yet he shows up for Miles on and off the court. I shouldn't be surprised though. Good people attract good people, and you have built a team that mirrors your work ethic and your amazing qualities as a person. My sister was so touched, and it made Miles' day. Thank you for everything that you and the team do for the kids. You know, and like I didn't really think of it too much like that. You know, I was just like, I train him, and I love training him. So let me go see a game. You know, let me go to an earlier service so I can make it at 11. You know, just to see his first game. Right, he's playing up. You know, I thought it would be good to just, you know, show face. Maybe he'll do a little bit better.
yeah,
And then just to kind of see, like, you know, even not even just Miles too, but the parents, you know, hearing or seeing that I touched like Miles's mom's heart, you know, by being there. Just like, which is great, you know, like it really just, it's a very wholesome feeling. Oh, hi, Aunt. Speaking of, what the heck?
yeah.
No, but that was really like that kind of made me feel like okay, like I'm going in the right direction. I just gotta keep going, just keep pushing. And again, too, just like so you said we have a great team,
Yeah.
you know. And again, like there's a reason why there's certain people here and that there's certain people that isn't here or aren't here, you know. So
Yeah.
glad to be here.
Yeah. We'll leave that one at that. Yeah. Let's not get to the other side, you know. But yeah, we definitely have like a certain people with a certain heart that's here, you know, whether they align with us at the moment or in the past or align with where we're going, you know. And again, yeah, even you just reading that text, like I forget, like we're low key big brothers, like older cousins. Like
Mhm.
for me, I'm quote unquote uncle. You know, so it's like it's cool to like pop out to like our clients or our extended families, like events. You know, like just to see how impactful that is. You know,
Right.
like I think I forgot what parent said it to me, but I had seen them outside, saw them outside of here, and they were shook. They're like, "Bro, I had not seen you outside the gym. Like, thank you for pulling up. You know, like,
Mhm.
um, we appreciate what you and the team do. You know, and it's like we just doing what we do. You know, it's
Yeah.
not like we're doing it like to for any type of reward or anything. You know, we're just literally doing it just because it's like the kindness of our heart. You know, like again, this thing we needed when we were younger. Um, Things not long. I think oh, who's that? I know. Yeah, yeah. I was like, you're a girl, but I don't know who. Do you think she's gonna pop by and say hi? That'd be pretty cool. You want to say hi to her real quick?
Hello. What's up? Huh? Yes, my why is that for me?
Yeah.
Oh, you leave it. Hello, how you doing?
Hi, moms.
That's how I didn't even know she was coming to you.
Nah, bro. What's crazy is your mom. Like, I think out of all of our family members, your mom has kind of been here the most.
Mhm.
Outside of our like significant others and all
Oh,
that.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Parental wise, like your mom always pops out. Like there was one time when she was fucking cleaning the bathroom, bro. Like she OG Filipino, so
No, yeah, for real. That's why, man.
yeah, yeah,
Sometimes too traditional, bro.
yeah.
She's like, hey, like, make sure she cooks and cleans for you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Nah, that's a little old school. So, but at the same time, it's just from the kindness of her heart. And
Right.
at the end of the day, she wants to make sure you're taken care of. You know, like something. I know my mom loves Devin, bro. Like she for sure do. But I think in my mom's eyes, like no one can take care of my brother and I the way she did. You know,
Mhm.
that's just her bias. And
Right.
like, she raised us enough to know that we can take care of ourselves, and we really don't need the girl. It's just like a, like,
Yeah.
you know. So like, it takes time for parents to realize that, you know. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
that is what it is. My bad. That's a whole ass tangent.
No.
Yeah, yeah. Who has influenced you the most in your life, and how or why?
I would say first growing up was really like my stepdad, or Henry. I guess he's more like my godfather. That's how I refer to him all the time. You know, not really my stepdad.
Fubo.
I think that like definitely when my dad wasn't there, you know, he stepped up a lot, right? Whether it was just like, you know, having us live with him or just, you know, him coming by all the time,
Yeah.
you know. But I think it was also partly due to like him not really being there too much for my other brother. So it was kind of like a compensation. Now he's here for me, you know, which could, you know, make it a little bit like a jealous thing. But I think just like him kind of being like a great father figure, you know, or just a great male model, you know, for me to kind of look up to. You know, even like during COVID, like it was just me and him like lifting in the living room, right? Just like every day, you know, and just kind of building that like my first taste of actually, you know, training, right? And he was a bodybuilder too back in the day, dude. Like back
I
when
call him Depot.
no,
He's big,
no,
bro.
exactly, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, like learning a lot from him. I think other than that, like a big one was just Coach Derek, right? Like he was my first coach sophomore year of high school, and that was really just when I was first starting to get serious about basketball. Right, tried out freshman, but didn't really want to play. But then sophomore year came, you know, and that was really like when I was first starting to grind. You know, my first look at a girl, and she basically ghosted me. So then I had to lock in and glow up. So
Yeah.
so kind of
Hey, what year was this?
freshman year.
Nah, I mean,
Oh, that was 2019, 2018. Yeah. But then just like I think that was the first taste of just like real culture. You know, like when we were playing together, when we were on the team, like that was a big thing, is just culture and family, you know. And I felt like him, even Coach Austin was there, he was the assistant coach, you know, but him and our little squad, right, were like super, super tight, you know, and kind of showing me that like he was there for us, right? Whether he was super angry or super happy, you know, like he was still coach, you know, and he was still there. And I think that was kind of a big part that played And I think too, just starting to like train with him, and then seeing like how he was as a person, you know, because like I think the biggest thing is just like how your words and your actions show your character. And I think for him, he just like showed a lot of humility and a lot of this like giving back. You know, like there were countless times where I went out with him and he paid for my food. You know, like, and he did that for so many kids, right? Almost to the point where I feel like, you know, maybe if he didn't do that, he probably would have had a lot more money. But but you know, it was just out of the goodness of his heart, right? Just training us outside his house or at Davis. I think just showing that, you know, and I was like, okay, like that's what kind of made me want to start shadowing him, right? Start kind of learning the craft, because that was a little bit when I was getting into like, okay, what do I want to do, you know? And then now seeing how Coach Derek was impacting me and impacting people around me, I kind of wanted to follow, get in those footsteps of impacting the community, right? So then, boom, senior year, started work going under them. You guys are at the ready spaces at that point.
Your senior year.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So then I was there. I don't know if I ever seen you, or if we met when I was like doing sessions with Derek, but that was like maybe a couple times.
Nah, I don't think I met you until
You went to the Steinbeck.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
That's when I met you in Lum, and I had already known Ben, and I don't know why I knew Ben before that though. I might have trained with Derek, and I met him a few times, but yeah, I feel like I really didn't meet your guys' group until I popped over to Steinbeck, kind of just to see what Derek was on, you know. So, and I honestly, I think that was a big pivotal moment for me and Derek's relationship, because previous to that, like, what year was that? 2022.
Yeah, it was like 2022. 'Cause that was when I graduated.
Yeah, so like from 2020 to 2022, like Derek and I really didn't chop it up much. You know, like we have weekly meetings and I see him at the meetings, but like we never got the time to kind of sit down and get to know each other. You know, not until like I started popping over to see what he was on a little more. You know, so
Right.
and it's been real cool to kind of hear stories about Derek, and whether it's from his perspectives or the other coaches' perspectives or even the parents' perspectives. You know, just to see like how big of a heart this kid has, you know,
Right.
and like kind of how he's been giving back like for so long, you know, to the community, just to help out, just because he loves it, you know. So I think that's really cool that like you're able to kind of again step back, reflect, kind of see like, damn, like I'm low key like where I am right now because he played a big part, you know. And it's like, I think that's amazing, bro. Like, yeah, again, at times, like we're just stuck with trying to chase these results that we forget about the journey, and we forget like the little things that like really mattered at moments.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that's cool, bro.
I guess kind of going back on that really quickly, I seen like a picture of during that time of like my JV year, and like it was Austin and Coach Derek. It looked super different, but I realized that right now I'm the same age as Coach Austin was when he was coaching me, right? So he was just, you know, baby face, buzz cut, you know, and then Derek was 25 at that time. And I'm just, you know, thinking back, I'm like, wow, like, you know, it's just 5 years later, right? And now I'm kind of at that spot. 5 more years later, I'll be again at that next spot. Yeah, exactly, you know? So now just kind of trying to see what those years are gonna look like by me again, just one day at a time.
I don't know what it is, but that's a perfect transition to this next question, man. Like, where do you see your journey like going in the next 5 years, or what do you hope for it to happen, or what are you working towards in the next 5 years?
I think really just, I guess, making more of a name for myself, right? I feel like right now, especially something that's been like kind of lacking is just like, I guess like my social media side, or just like kind of getting on the internet. But I feel like right now just taking the time to realize, you know, who I am, what makes me of value, you know, and like kind of what I guess makes me unique, you know. I think like again just trying to find not really a niche, but just again just trying to find who I am. You know, I think at this time of my life it's a lot of building and it's a lot of preparation. And I think maybe if I'm not even prepared, but you know, I feel like when the opportunity comes, like it'll come, and I just want to be okay with kind of getting there, right? So I think I'll be what, like 26? Shoot, hopefully I'm still here. Hopefully I'm still training. I would like to see myself kind of, I guess, leading academy, but more having people under me for sure. I think, kind of seeing Garrett getting a little bit more on the mentor side to like he has a couple people watching his sessions. He's talking to a coach up here, or he's talking to another coach in LA. Seeing that he is at a spot now to where people are asking him questions. And I think I kind of want to get to that spot to where it's like, okay, if you need help, if you need questions answered, like you need mentoring, you need advice, like I'm the guy to go to.
Yeah.
So I think definitely just more or less just being like a mentor and being someone that people can learn from, I think is definitely where I would like to see myself.
Yeah, continuing to get back, bro. Sounds like a great goal to work towards. Something you had mentioned as you were talking, and I don't know if you caught yourself, but I don't know if you ever heard the saying where there's no such thing as like when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
So I feel like you're in those stages, and your goals are like pretty achievable, because right now you are in that preparation stage. You're low-key a sponge where you're talking to Coach Derek, you're talking to myself, talking to Coach Ant, even Coach Austin at times, Jorge with whatever little advice he has here and there, but all that is prepping you for, and it's giving you good reps for when that opportunity does present itself. So I mean, it's just like you said, you working out with your dad, your stepdad, your godfather. Like all those were first reps for you to where now
Right.
you're just doing it consistently now. So one day you're gonna be able to look back and probably watch this video and be like, damn, like I grew a lot,
Now
in
I'm
this
huge
short
in
period of time.
25.
Yeah. Just sitting here hella yoked and shit, yeah, bro. So is there anything else you wanted to talk about, or anything else you wanted to tell yourself or your future self,
Man, honestly, I just know, like, I guess I'll kind of end it off with this. I think I was kind of recognizing it before, but more now going to God and Jesus. Now I just realized that, like, that there is a pattern of life that I've kind of been seeing within myself and kind of labeling everything as. But it's really just like you have to go through pain for growth, And I see that in everything, in like different sayings, like no rain, no flowers, like yin and yang. Like if you don't suffer, you will not value happiness, and vice versa. You won't value happiness if you don't suffer. So I think definitely realizing that, especially like when you're in low points, God will not put you in situations that you aren't ready for. So I think recognizing that when you're in uncomfortable moments, and that better things will get better, or things will get better. And I think too, even like kind of like when I was first getting into it, like, oh, like I have to be uncomfortable, right? But sometimes you don't really realize what uncomfortable is, like, okay, like, oh, I just had a little workout, I was, I'm growing. But then you kind of think about the moments where you're like full of rage and you're like sobbing, you're sad, like that is true uncomfort, and I think all of those moments build you to where you want to be right now, and sometimes you can go the other way, right? You can go through so much pain, you can go through so much suffering, and then end up on the bad end, right? So I think it's really just how you see it, being in a constant state of gratitude and realizing where you're at in your life and how you go from there and what you can do, right? I think it's going back to it, just being able to give yourself grace, being able to do what you can do, but also still, being real with yourself, being accountable.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate your time, bro.
Thank you.
Thanks for sitting down with me. We're gonna do this more often too, so it's probably gonna be like maybe once a month. Hopefully, shoot for once every other month.
Yeah.
Like kind of just because it's a good time for us to like sit down and again, we get to know you guys on a deeper level, and again, hopefully one day we get to rewatch this and you guys are a lot further than where you guys are.
Yeah.
Something I talked to them about yesterday was for me at your guys' age, I always knew I wanted to be in the gym. And I felt like I was always working for it and prepping for it, but I never really would have pictured it looking like this, and like, not saying this is not where I wanted to be, like it's a little more than what I wanted it to be, you know what I mean? So, not the last stop for me, or us, but at the same time, it's like being able to sit down, have these conversations, reflect, and then
Smell the
just appreciate
flowers.
it. Yeah, something I got to do as I get older. So time goes by fast, bro. So
Super fast.
yeah. Well, thank you, Ron.
Welcome, man.
Well said. Oh, damn, professional. I was gonna do the whole handshake.
You're a lot
Yeah.
in too.
You got a lot. I gotta do the handshake.
For real.
So only when I have COVID, we didn't do it. So, but outside of that, that was a nice little quick one.
Shout out to Grove. Shout out to Showtime Basketball Academy. Oh, motherfucker.